All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody has had a phenomenal Thursday and your Friday is off to a great start. So, got a bit to dig into this morning. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper. Let's take some notes and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So, real quick, drop me one in the chat if you can hear me all right, just to make sure I made the proper adjustments. Sweet. Appreciate it. Let's hop over to trading economics. Take a look at what is popping there, and then we'll dive into the charts. All right. So, off the top, Eurozone private sector contraction eases slightly. HCLB Eurozone composite PMI rose to 47.1 in September as marginal increase from August 34-month low and slightly above expectations of 46.7. So the PMI data slightly ticked up, preliminarily estimates showed. However, the reading still indicates a significant decline in business activity at the end of the third quarter, primarily driven by a steep contraction in the manufacturing sector. So creeped up from the last, but still decreasing overall, right? So watching the PMI sector for other areas where inflation could be a problem. I dropped the notes in the Discord, but Bank of Japan, they maintain that key short-term interest rate at negative 10% or 10 basis points, and that of the 10-year bond yield at around 0 in the September meeting by unanimous vote, right? So there was no indecision there. The central bank also left unchanged the allowance band of 50 basis points set on either side of the yield target, as well as a cap at 1% adopted in July. The Bank of Japan mentioned that it would patiently continue with monetary easing and respond to development in economic activity. So data dependent, but they're going to be patient with their decisions, right? As far as changing their decisions, the dynamics of price and financial conditions amid extremely high uncertainties at home and abroad. By doing so, the board aims to achieve a price stability target of 2% in a sustainable manner, according to, accompanied by wage increases, right? So that wage increases is important in the statement because starting the end of November, beginning of December, they go into these wage negotiations. The Bank of Japan, the Japanese government, and your large organizations. So that wage conversation, however that comes out, that will kind of determine how soon they change their stance, right? So want to just be aware of that as things are moving through there. All right. Yeah. So I want to be aware of what's happening there in Japan from a wage perspective. Okay. It's weird. All right. Give me 1 second. That's why. All right, cool deal. So that is the Bank of Japan. Make sure that's good. Now let's go back. UK factory orders dropped, accelerates in September. Confederation of British Industrial Survey Total order book balance declined by 3 points from the previous month to reach negative 18 in September, the lowest level since April, according to the CBI's latest industrial trend survey. The latest reading suggests total order books remain below normal levels for the 14th consecutive month, adding to a sign of weakness in the economy. The output expectation sub-index rose to 0 from August's -3, and the gauge of price expectation is coming in the coming quarter increased by 14 points from 8 points. So the orders are starting to or continuing to slow, right? So that is happening in the UK. Then we have private sector activity falls the most in 2.5 years, right? So we're starting to see the data. This gives us a little bit better understanding of why the Bank of England chose to hold their rates, right? They're seeing this data trending in the opposite direction. So it makes sense. It makes sense why they chose to hold the rate, right? China stocks jump on recovery hopes. So that's where we are there. Over to the calendar. Let's update this real quick. And there we go. So yesterday, here's the data came out. Unemployment claims for the dollar came in at 201,000, below the expectation of 224,000. So not as many as expected. Yeah, so employment market is still tight, right? Not as many unemployment claims as we anticipated. So then we have Philly Fed Manufacturing Index came in deeply below expectation there. Then there's that rate statement for the Japanese yen. And then this morning, here's your PMI data, right? That we just talked through there, right? French PMI below expectation. German PMI at expectation. The services PMI came in above expectation. So in the Eurozone, you got mixed data. Some of it came in hot. And then for the pound, that data, the manufacturing PMI came in above the expectation there just slightly. And then the flash PMI came in below the expectation. Okay. Later on today, we got core retail sales coming out of Canada. And then we have the PMI data for the United States later on today as well. And you have a couple of FOMC members speaking. Okay. So got a bit still to go for the day. So we could still see a little bit more volatility, but setting us up for an interesting October. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions? No questions? No. All right, cool deal. Let's get over to check out the dollar and what the dollar is doing. All right. I want to take a look at the dollar. I want to take a look at the yen pairs. I want to take a look at the pounds, and we'll get through as many as possible today. So DXY, this is on the 1 hour, still pushing long, had a little bit of a retest of that B boundary, and then we started pushing back to the upside there. And that's on the one coming back to the daily, right? Still tracking to the upside, that sub fib. We got to that D extension on the sub fib. So we'll be looking for a reset there and a fresh AB boundary at some point. But This ABCD wave, double bottom at the 8-6 retracement daily support, been pushing long. So ABCD wave is playing out. It's just, do we get a retracement before we get a continuation to the target, right? So dollar pushing long overall. Here on the 4, right? D extension just inside the next level of daily resistance, right? Off of 50% retracement. So broke this level, came back just shy of a retest of it. So do we get another pullback to come and retest this zone before we continue to the upside? That's what I'm looking for in this scenario, to see if we come back down and retest this area that we just broke out of, right? So do we get this before we get this? That's the question that I'm asking. That's what I'm looking for, right? Will we get it? We'll see. We'll see. If we do, then those dollar pairs give pullbacks. And then if we don't, we'll continue riding to the upside there. Okay. So that is the DXY. That's the potential there. We'll see how it plays out. We could just continue driving to the upside. That PMI data could push us a little bit further. So we'll watch that closely there. Okay. So that's the dollar. Let's go to look at the dollar yen first. And you see here on the dollar yen, we started to break down. And then with that yen news, just push back to the upside. All right. Pull these extra fibs out for a second. Boom. Right. So we're still making our way. We are still making our way. Okay. We did initially on the lower time frame break that trend line that we had running there, but we also pushed back above and back into the range. So we'll watch it and see when we drop down, we'll see that trend line there and why I adjusted it. But we're tracking to the upside. So I'm looking to see if we're able to break this 148.857 to get to the D extension and that monthly resistance level at 151. Here's where, right, we broke the trend line. It was actually, my bad, it's there. We broke trend line, but we came right back above it, right? So I'm looking to see if we continue higher to test that level, okay? That's what I'm looking to see. So we pushed back into the range, to the top of the range. So when we see it on the 1 hour time frame, we'll see it a little bit more closely, right? That's what that looks like. So my trend line, right? We broke back above, came back to the top of that range. So my trend line now goes to the outermost point. Boom, right? So we're still pressing sideways. If you wanted to be more aggressive, you could and draw an inner trend line. Oops, not that. That's not what I wanted. Like this, right? Be a little bit more aggressive there. But either way, right, we're back into the top of the range. Okay. So however you want to do that there, or you can drop the cloud on and allow the cloud to give you that indication. Boom. And broke back above the cloud as well. Okay. So that's where we sit on the dollar yen. Any questions here? All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this NZD Swiss that we're sitting in real quick just to see where we are. All right, just a quick update on this move to the upside. Boom. Right, beautiful swing coming into this daily resistance and that 382 level. So tracking as planned. Tracking as planned. Bingo. All right. So continue to manage your trade here. And if you're in this to the upside, right, and we'll look for that 382 to be tagged sometime soon. All right. Beautiful scenario there. Currently up 164 pips to the top side. All right. So that one is moving as expected. I just wanted to take a look to see where we sat. Questions on this NZD Swissy? Anybody still sitting in this? Joy, great work. Great work. Great work. Boom. I moved that target back up to that 1 hour 382. Yeah, that's where we're gonna look for a price to get you there. All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. Aussie yen. Similar scenario here. As the dollar, we had that nice strong push to the downside, and we're coming back. We're retesting that candle. So this is one that I'm watching. This Aussie yen is the only one that I'm kind of conflicted on. If we don't break out and break above this 95,862 level, right, we could see price come back down. So I'm watching this for a potential opportunity to get short. I'm interested to see how investors take the Bank of Japan information. There was an interview done by the governor of the Bank of Japan recently, and he stated that, and it's in the notes as well, but he stated that they could move sooner rather than later when it comes to the monetary policy. But he also then went back to based on the wage data. So I'm interested to see how investors take that information with some of these pairs, like the pound, right? The pound yen, that one is turning back over. But as we come down here to the 4 hour, right, do we get some sort of crown pattern action here? Do we stay below this level? Right, we had a nice strong push to the downside, took out the previous low. Do we get a crown pattern formation here? Right. Yeah. Do we get this reversal action? I think this could even push up to back to that daily level. Right. That invalidates it. Let's see. There we go. Right. Do we get something like that to occur? All right, coming back and retesting that level. I mean, that strong bearish candle breakout, do we come back and then push down? So I'm watching this one closely to see if we're able to break back above that this 95,862 level. If we stay below it, we could ultimately turn over and head back down to the downside. Right? Yeah, we could potentially see that happen. So I'm watching that one closely to see what we get. All right. There's your fib there. All right. We had an 80-20 scenario, boom, break down 50%, and we're pressing back to the upside. So in this consolidation, do we turn over? Coming down to the 1, you see that a little bit more clearly there. We also broke below the cloud. We got a bearish cloud ahead. All right. So let's keep our eyes on this one and see what happens. We got a 618 retracement off the push down. Matching D extension is there. So again, we'd have to break this level in order to get to the D extension. So back to my question of, do we break that level or do we not? So that's what I'm watching on this Aussie yen, right? If we break above, cool, we'll continue to ride. But if we don't, I'll be looking for an entry opportunity on this one. I had to take that back down to the downside. Okay, so just keep that on your radar. Questions on the Aussie yen? Questions? Cool. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's and in these two we'll peek at the ones that we got positions on as well. Aussie New Zealand. This one started pressing back down to the downside. So this one is interesting. It's more range bound than anything. Started making our way to the upside, got to a high price, and we're pushing back down, right? Broke these previous daily levels, retested. We'll see if we get a pullback, but we're headed down. We'll take this level out as well. Okay. We're headed down. So next level of daily support is here at 107. We'll see what happens when we get there. To the 4. And that's where we look there, right? We had a nice deep retracement on this active AB boundary. So matching the extension is just below that support level. So that's where we're headed, right? Support 118 level, and then we'll get a reset. So nothing happening on the 4. Oops. And then on our 1, right, just headed down. Still inside the AB boundary, but headed down. We'll likely take that A out, and then we'll get a reset off the top. Like so. All right, so we'll be patient there. Nothing happening there. But moving to the downside, just wants to watch that daily support level and see what happens when we get there. The NZD is still picking up its pace, which is a beautiful thing for us. We're still trying to figure out what's happening that's giving the New Zealand its bump. But so we'll see if we get some additional developments there. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar is in its retracement phase on the lower time frames. Here on the daily, still haven't broken out, right? We still haven't broken below this 63,667. Came down close to the bottom of the range, and we're pressing back to the upside, right? So we'll continue to watch to see what happens with the dollar, but still range bound here. We need to break out in one direction or the other. Definitely love to see that D extension achieved sometime in the near future. But that is interesting. So here on the 4, you see that range a lot more clearly there, right? So we'll watch to see once we get back to the top of the range, what happens, right? Do we push back down and head back to the bottom, or do we break out and continue pushing to the upside in the short term? Okay, coming down to the 1, here's your reversal there. We didn't get that 118, 127 push down, but we're getting the reversal nonetheless. So high price potentially somewhere in the range. We'll see if we can get an opportunity to get short. Okay, so watching this into the upside, we'll see what happens when we get higher in this this 1 hour fib, but we could likely take that 1 hour fib out and get closer to hold on, this level looks off. So yeah, there we go. Right, so well, that's the A boundary, right? So could we take out that A boundary, gets that weekly resistance level, or do we stay inside of that as we retest some of these higher levels and then turn over? So as we get to the top of the range here on that retracement, we'll be watching to see if we get an opportunity to turn over there. All right, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. Okay, cool. So that's the Aussie dollar. Questions on that one? We're looking for a high price here. Is ultimately what we're looking for. Looking for a high price. Okay. Cool deal. One Dawson, what's up, my man? Cat Swiss still running beautifully. So We'll continue to manage this one as it goes, but haven't had a retracement yet, right? So we'll keep that part in mind, but we're running to the upside just as expected, okay? And running in a strong way. Down on the 4 hour, right? And we'll run a fib. That's what we'll do. I'm going to adjust that stop loss up a little bit higher. So we're going to run our fib off the low just to track the waves to the upside, and we'll look for those retracements as they come. All right. So 382 with that wick, and we'll push into the upside. So we might get tag that D extension, and then get a retracement and continuation. So excuse me. So that's where we are on the 4, coming down to the 1. Right. Let's see that a little bit better there. Didn't get a deep retracement like we wanted to. Boom, take off. So D extension is in sights, and then we'll get a reset and look for a pullback there. Okay. So that's the CAD Swiss. Running beautifully. On this one, off the entry, we're up 223 pips. Got another 300 or so to go. All right. So that's the CAD Swiss. Questions on that one? You missed that one, Joy? I dig it, but you got some amazing ones running. So you don't catch them all, but the ones you got are awesome. So great work. All right, so that's it there on the CAD Swiss. 226 pips in profit. Another 300 to go. So CAD Yen. All of these yens had interesting moves. This CAD yen, I'm anticipating breaking some of these higher levels here, but on the daily time frame, right, it's still pressing to the upside. That push down was ultimately just a retest of that B boundary and that daily resistance level, serving as support, right? And we're pressing to the upside. We got a weekly and monthly level here, but I do anticipate us being able to break that level with the strength of the CAD. And price just continue to rumble to the upside to get to some of these higher levels before we see some reversals there. So we'll watch that closely. Let's see. We'll watch that closely to see what happens. Let's go back to the monthly real quick here. I want to see. I don't know why my monthly levels aren't in here. But nothing after that high on the monthly time frame. So what we have on the weekly. Looking for the next resistance level off these highs. So that's what I'm looking for here. Oops, not support. Resistance. There we go. All right. So we got swing highs there. So we'll drop this weekly level in here so we can track that on that daily D extension. So we'll do that. Drop that down. Boom. Right. So on that, let's come here. There's that level. So back to that daily D extension. The daily D extension is just above that level, right? Here's your take profit level, Joy. You forgot to adjust your TP. No, that's great. Great work though, right? It's rumbling to the upside. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So great work on capturing what you did. Just outside of, right? So gives more credence to price pushing to the upside, especially if we're able to break this resistance level here. So we'd be looking for a break and a retest on this. All right. And then a continuation to the D extension, and then we'll see what happens from there. Okay. Coming down to the 4. Look at that. Beautiful move, man. Beautiful move. Coming into the 4-hour D extension, which is also just above that level, right? Just above that monthly and weekly resistance level off the 618 retracement, up 600 pips, right? With a few more to go on this 4-hour. It's going, right? So we'll continue to watch that, pressing to the upside. Now let's look at this one. So this 80-20 scenario, right? Shallow retracement of 118 and 127 zone. We retested that B boundary, and then we pressed to the upside. So this is a scenario, right? Looking at it from a fundamental perspective, we may not get this CAD yen to come back down and give us a deeper retracement on this 1-hour time frame. Bank of Japan has released their information. And they said what they said. So we will continue to allow the yen to be soft and this CAD to continue press to the upside, right? We might see a small pullback, right? Maybe we get a head and shoulders type pattern here, right? But ultimately, I'm looking for this to continue to the upside, right? So we can watch for a short-term scenario here on the lower time frames. Maybe we get that set up there for a head and shoulders pattern, like so. Right? Maybe we see something like that. So we'll keep our eyes there and see, right? So let's drop down to the 15 actually and see. There's your 30. That one is a little bit off. Your fib on your 30 would look like that. Boom. Okay, deep retracement level there. Let's see. Maybe, right? Maybe it turns into a crown pattern of pushing to this 118 and 127 zone in this weekly level. But maybe we get a short-term retracement to come back to this 382 50% level off the sub fib to the upside. Okay, so that's on your 30-minute. Let's look at the 5. That D extension is already achieved there. So we'll look for a reset on the 5. So we'll watch and see, right? Keep your eyes on this one for maybe some potential intraday opportunities for retracement. And then we'll look for price to continue pushing to the upside. Okay. Questions on the CAD yen? No. All right. Cool deal. Swiss yen. Let's see. So this one, we might not get to that monthly level, right? I told you guys I wanted to see that 176 level get tagged at monthly D extension, and we might get a pullback before that. So we'll just come into the daily here. We didn't get to that D extension, and yesterday, boom, strong bearish break at that support level. We're coming back and we're retesting right now, right? So we could be in for this one to start turning over, especially with Swiss National Bank holding their rates also and basically saying they're pretty much done, right? So we could see this one start to turn over with the break of the support level. Okay, so I'm looking for short opportunities here. We got a daily support level here that we'll have to keep our eyes on. But turning over. Okay. Here we are on the 4, right? And you see that push. So we'll watch this one closely. We already came back and retested that daily level there, right? Maybe we get one more push to retest this consolidation zone that we broke out of, right? See if we get price to push into this range. somewhere in there, right? We get that push, and then look for price to turn over and start making lower highs and lower lows, right? Here we are on the 1, and this is ultimately what I'm looking for, right? Price to push into this range, deep retracement on the 1 hour. If I get this, then I'm looking to the downside. And we'll be in this one for a bit if we get that scenario. Okay. So keep your eyes on this one as we move through beginning of the week next week to see if we get that bump. Oops. Okay. So that's where we are there. Questions on this Swiss yen? No questions, no questions. All right. Cool. Euro Aussie. Check in and see what our progress is. All right. There's the turnover. We got to that TP1 level off the B boundary. Off the B boundary, pressing to the downside. All right. So we're making our way. We'll remove that level, headed down. We got a support level at the bottom of this range. Right here. Boom. All right. Cool deal. Okay. Pressing down. Pressing down. So let's go to the 4, right? And check the 80-20. Boom. Okay. So we broke that daily level, came back, retested that daily level, and we're headed down. Right? Headed down. So next level of support. Did I do that right? Did I bring that down? Oh, this is that daily level that we formed in that range. But if we break out of that, right, next level is a 50% retracement at 163,394. Right. So headed down. Right. So on that one, we're at 501 pips. More potential to go. Right. More potential to go there. Okay. Coming down to the 1, right? We got a nice 618 retracement here to retest that daily level, right? Off the 80-20, boom. 618 retracement. I missed the opportunity to add on to my trade there. But we broke down and we're headed to the downside, right? So matching the extensions 164, which will break that support, right? And we'll be headed lower. Okay. So we're on the move on that Euro Aussie. Questions on it? You guys still holding this one down? No, you got out? All right. All good. All good. Got that TP1 on that 4 hour. So that works. That works. Cool. Yeah, so that's the Euro Aussie. Look at this Euro CAD. I'm interested to see if we get a retracement on this or not. We may not, but I really would like a high price to be able to get short here. Beautiful 80-20 scenario, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, and we've just been breaking down ever since, right? Broke the cloud, headed lower. Got support levels here that we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on, daily and weekly support levels. We'll see if we get a bounce and a pullback, but we may not get it, right? The CAD is running strong. We got back and forth data coming out of the Eurozone. So we could just continue to press down here. So we'll watch and we'll continue to monitor. But coming into the 4, right, we're just pressing deeper in that zone. So if we break those levels, obviously we break that A boundary as we head lower. I'm going to start running my fibs off the high, just in preparation for the move down in those waves, just so we have it as we go. So there we are. Right, sub fib, we got the 382 pressing to the downside, matching the extension is below those levels, so we could then continue to press down. Okay, so that's on the 4. Coming down to our 1, there's that move. Right, just missed that 382 there on the 1 hour, pushing down into the 118 127 zone. Right, so we'll see what happens here in this range. Okay, obviously the extension's outside that weekly support level, so we shall see if we get a bounce or not. But right now we're headed to the downside, and ultimately overall long term looking for high prices to get back short. All right, questions on the euro CAD? Oh, all right, cool deal. We'll keep rocking. Euro Swissy, right? Swiss National Bank did their thing, and Swissy has been rumbling to the upside, looking for a potential pullback to come, but we broke out of our range, right? We had this range happening here for forever, breakout. Now let's see if we get a pullback to retest at 96,031 and then get a bounce. Right, here we are on the 4. All right, so he's looking for a pullback to retest and then a continuation to the upside there. Okay. There might be an opportunity to add to the trade there. Okay, so we'll watch and see. We got the fibs running on the 1 hour. Right, we got just we came to that 50% level. I'd love to see it push just a little bit further to give me an opportunity to add to it as we make our way for the rest of this move to the upside. So we'll watch and see how that goes. Right, but just pressing sideways now. That could be how we finish the week on this Euro Swiss, is just sideways push. Okay, so but looking for price to continue rocking to the upside. There's your fib there. Okay, questions on the Euro Swissy? Another one's taking its time, but it's been a beautiful scenario so far. Right, just shy of 100 pips there. Okay, and we'll move our stop loss in profit just below that 8 boundary. Boom. We're good to go. All right. Still holding that one. Great work, Joy. Great work. Euro GBP, right? Pound held their rate. Euro doing its thing. So this is the level that we said is going to be interesting for us, right? So daily time frame, deep retracement, 786 level. We got this daily resistance level that has kept us inside of this range. So can we break above this 86,951? Okay, can we break above that level and then give us a really nice catalyst, an opportunity break and retest to move to the upside? All right, so that's what I'm tracking there. I'm watching that top of that range closely. Coming down to the 4, we took out the A on the 4 hour, right? So time to flip the fib and run it in the other direction. Boom. Right, and we're just shy of that D extension there, which will likely hit as we tap that daily resistance level there. Okay, so retest of the cloud, and we got the push. So we're watching that there. That's the level. That's the key interest area that's of interest to me. We want to see what happens as we get there. Okay. Here on the 1B boundary, right? So we could potentially get a pullback before we break that level. So we'll watch that and see as well. Okay, but just hovering at the B boundary right now. All right. Questions on the Euro GBP? No, no questions. All right, cool deal. Yeah, we'll get there, Carolyn. I got you. Euro again, not able to break out of this range, right? I told you some of these yens are setting up for something, and some of them are still stuck. This euro yen is one that's still stuck in this range, right? Not able to break to the downside yet, anyway, right? It's just hovering sideways. So want to see a break of that level, get that confirmation that we're not going to press back to the top. Coming down to the 4, you see that range more closely. Okay. It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens today. Hey, where they go? There we go. See what happens today, but we do just keep in mind, right? We do have this 80-20 scenario here on the 4, right? So it wouldn't be surprising if we get this one to start turning over as well. Okay. We got those trend lines running there. I'm going to drop the cloud on. And you see we're just hovering through the cloud. Okay, so we'll watch as that flag pattern develops, and we'll see if we get a break to the downside there. Okay. Coming down to the 1, right? I just ran a fib off the top of that range down, and you see where we're stuck. So just sideways, need a breakout in order to play that one. Okay. Questions on the euro yen? No. All right, cool deal. Euro NZD. We know we got the turnover, right? We know we got the turnover off the weekly, and that New Zealand is running, right? So headed down, weekly support at 171. Okay. Here on the daily, we did get a 382, but price wasn't able to break out. So here we go to the downside. We got a daily level support that we're coming into, or will be coming into right here. All right. So we'll watch that level for potential retracement. All right. But we're headed to the downside here. All right. Headed down. Been an interesting. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So off our original entry, down 468 pips, right? Headed to the downside. Coming here to the 4. And this is, let me back up, right? Here's that crown pattern that ultimately we're working on. We'll see how deep we get into it. But this is the crown pattern potential that we have if we're able to break these support levels and continue heading to the downside. Okay, so that's the idea that we're playing this on. And that pullback gave us a 618 retracement. So matching the extension is way down here. Long way to go. So we'll watch and see as this develops to see if we get that full move to play out. Okay, so coming to the 1. Did we look at the 4? Here's the 4, my bad. There's the 4-hour. All right, so we hit that 382, headed to the 50% level. Then we'll see how it continues. Okay, so beautiful play, beautiful opportunity, and it's on, right? So down on the 1, just missed that 382. We're pushing into this 118, 127 zone. I don't know where this level came from. We'll pull that out. Yeah, there we go. Boom. So there we are, headed to the downside. So we'll see what happens at that support level. Okay, but beautiful move. Beautiful move. Stay below the cloud the whole way. Boom. Okay. Questions on the Euro NZD? Oh. All right. Euro dollar. Also not able to break out of this range. right? With everything that's happening with the dollar, right? We're still stuck at this weekly support level at 106, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the dollar next week. I mentioned, right? Maybe we get a pullback in the dollar. If we do, that could set us up for this this head and shoulders pattern here, right? So let's watch and see. And if we close bearish today, right, and are able to fully push below that level, then that would invalidate that head and shoulders pattern, and we'll see what happens from there, because we still could potentially get a pullback if the dollar retraces. So we'll continue watching to see what happens here, but we haven't been able to break that level. Coming down to the 4, right, you see we're just hovering at the B boundary. Okay, tons of wicks, tons of reactions here. They're struggling a bit. So we'll watch and see if we get something, a catalyst of any sort, to either push it down to break it or to flip it and move it back to the upside, right? Here on the 1, we got 80-20 scenario, right in line with that support level. So I do have an entry there looking for the retracement. We'll see if we get it. We'll see if we get it, right? If price breaks that, we're headed to the D extension lower. So that'll invalidate that opportunity, but could potentially set us up for a crown pattern as well if we do get some sort of catalyst for a retracement. Okay, so that's where we are there on the euro dollar. Any questions? All right. Cool. Pound Aussie, pound CAD. That will be likely where we wrap it up. So pound Aussie, right? Another one we're hanging tight in. We didn't get that retracement, headed to the support level. Boom. All right. We know the pound is weak right now, right? So everything is running against it. So we got daily support coming in here at 189. We'll see what happens there. We got a weekly support at 188. Okay. So another one down. Yeah, 900 pips, right? Off that entry there at 198, 933. Okay. You got a ways to go, right? This could definitely make its way down and get to this 382. Okay. Which, if it does, that's 1,500 pips to the downside. So it's moving. It's moving, right? So we'll just continue to monitor this one, continue to manage the trade. My stop loss is already in profit. So I'm going to leave it above this weekly resistance level and just allow price to do its thing as it's moving down. Here on the 4, is that top line, the monthly? What top line you're talking about, Carolyn? My monthly levels are black. Monthly levels are black, weekly levels are blue. This top line is my entry. This red line here, that was my entry on this particular pair. I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's my entry on this one. Right. So we're moving to the downside. So coming here to the 4, right? This is where we had the 80-20 scenario. Boom. All right. We're headed down. So sitting at that 50% retracement level right now. Okay. And we will continue to track it downside. Okay. So we'll see what happens. We could get a bounce here, right? We could continue to press down. Okay. But TP1 was already hit. Bingo. Now we're tracking the TP2. Okay. Anybody still holding this one to the downside? Or we take our profit already? No. All right. Still profit at TP1. Jordan take it. Okay, cool deal. Hey, great work. Great work. And the TP1 was still about 800 pips. So that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. So we'll continue rocking on this one, man. We'll continue to ride this to the downside. That pound is weak, so I foresee this one continue to move to the downside. Like I said, off that daily level, we could definitely get to that that 382. Coming here to the 1, we do have an 80-20 scenario, right? We didn't get to the 382, so maybe we get a retracement here, right? Come back, retest this weekly level, which we haven't retested yet. Okay, so we'll keep our eyes there as well for a pullback and a high price opportunity to add to this one, continue to move to the downside. So we'll watch that and see what happens here. Right. But if we break that level, then we're just going to head to the D extension. So if then statements, right? If we get this level to hold in a retracement, trend line break, cloud break, right? Could see that move higher, top of the range. If price breaks, we head to the D extension. Okay. So that's where we are there on the pound Aussie. And then to the pound CAD. Pound CAD. This one is running to the downside, man. That pound is weak. That data came in today. And it's running to the downside. We have posted the 80-20 on the 4-hour. It's invalidated, right? We got to the 382 on the daily, pushed up, just been crazy run to the downside, right? We got CAD strength and we got pound weakness. So fundamentally, it makes sense. It makes sense. We're crashing through levels like crazy. So we close below this daily level. We'll look at this next daily level at 161, 192, see if that level holds. But this is running, and we just got to allow it to run, man. Coming to the 4, right? Here's that 80-20 scenario that we're looking at. It didn't play out. Didn't play out. Just continue to run to the downside. Okay? Just continue to run to the downside, which is cool, right? We know the momentum is in that direction. Okay, the momentum is in that direction. So now we'll just allow price to do its thing. We'll allow it to settle in wherever it does, and then see if we get a retracement and see if that retracement meets our rules. If it doesn't, then we'll allow it to give us a high price. And then we'll look to get short, right? Because that's running to the downside. Don't want to get in front of it. Coming down to the 1, right? We got a fresh AB boundary. Pushing into the 118, 127 zone. So we'll watch and see what happens, right? We'll allow it to do what it does and allow it to tell us when it's ready to reverse. But that's where we are. All right. So maybe the retracement comes here a little earlier. We'll see, right? I'm not going to rush it because, again, fundamentals are, what Benny says, right? No technical level will ever stand in the way of a fundamental occurrence, right? So we'll allow it to do what it does. Right? As it settles in, then we can make some decisions. Okay. So we'll watch that. All right. Questions on the pound CAD? No. All right. Cool deal. Quick look at the pound yen is running to the downside. Right. We're getting a bit of a retracement here, but we also broke this level. Broke the level down. Retesting that daily level that we broke through. This is another one that could be setting up for a larger move to the downside. So we'll continue to watch this one as well. We'll take a look at it more in depth in the morning during our weekly ritual. But I would love to see a retest and then a continuation there. Okay, so just hovering, we could end indecisive today, but I'd love to see a pullback on that one to the upside. So just a quick look there, and we'll dig deep into it tomorrow morning during our weekly ritual. For our Inner Circle members. So questions on anything that we covered this morning?
Nope.
No? All right, good people. Have a phenomenal Friday, right? Be patient, allow the market to do what it does. And we'll see you in the morning for our weekly ritual, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Inner Circle members. You guys have an awesome Friday. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.